And moving on, we're ready to start the 8th leg of our journey. We're going to head down to the Osseus dungeon. Like with the other dungeons, we're going to kind of beeline it to the boss. But what I'm going to talk about here briefly is the burial fee, which you need to take to the burial mound. I know the map is closed now, but the burial mound is kind of in the center of the map, not too far from where we're going now. And when you approach the burial mound, you're given an option to use the burial fee if you have it. If you don't have it, you can't do anything there. Using the burial fee summons the Barrow Hag. The Barrow Hag kills one of your characters at random in exchange for letting you pick from her random weapons, which in my personal experience are all crappy. But you need to do that for an achievement, so we're going to do that before the last dungeon because we don't want her to take our Eagle Eye character that we intentionally re-rolled our party for, specifically for the last dungeon and boss. So anyway, we'll talk more about that when it's time, but in the meantime, we're off to find Osseus. Again, just like it's pretty common at this point in time, I'm going to just kind of beeline it through the dungeon. I'm not going to waste a lot of time fighting these enemies. Talk a little bit about Osseus himself. He's a giant spider that we're basically going to climb up to the top of this area, to the top of like a, I don't want to say a mountain, but the top of a hill or a peak where he comes out. And he starts out on like the edge of a square area, and you can approach him and try to get close enough to stab him with your spear, and he'll kind of try to attack you with his, 8 spidery appendages, different, stabs and slashes. And after a little while, he'll move away and maybe relocate, and then after a little while longer, he'll disappear, and he's going to then create a hole in the area that you could fall into and die. So once he starts making holes, the longer the battle goes, the more holes he's going to make. You need to be real careful not to fall into those holes. Occasionally what he will do also is sort of jump out into the middle of the area somewhere and stand on one leg and then like start stabbing really long stabs while he's balancing himself on his leg. And if you could get in and poke him in the leg that he's supporting himself with, he'll fall onto his back where he's debilitated for a few seconds. And there's an achievement for this god for killing him when he's on his back. And the easiest way I found to do that is to bring an axe from one of the normal enemies when they drop their weapons. One of them is an axe or a sword, whatever you can get towards the end. You don't want the spear because the spear breaks too easily, but the sword or the axe are sturdier. You can throw them a couple times. So I'll grab that axe or that sword and bring it to the boss. And once the battle starts, I'll throw it at him, and then it'll just land on the ground in front of him after it hits him. And then what I want to do is weaken him, and then pick the weapon back up, and just sort of stay away from him until he jumps out into the arena on one leg. And then I'll be able to easily hit him with the weapon from a distance rather than trying to get close and poke him. And when you hit him when he's balanced on one leg, he falls onto his back. Sprint in, finish him off, achievements unlocked. So, anyway, back to dungeon progression here. We're just sort of making our way through. There's a couple of these little ramps you need to walk across. Ramp, I called it, little bridge. And we're getting close to the end here. Some of these burning torch guys. And there's the axe that I'm talking about. Looks like there's one more axe enemy here right before the final ladder. So now I'll climb up, and I'm basically at the boss. Once I'm up at the top here, you just run forward, and the cinematic will begin as your character climbs up to the final precipice. So again, you're going to see Osseus appear. Like I said, he's a giant spider. You're just going to want to, first thing, throw the weapon at him and watch where it lands because you're going to need to pick it up afterwards. So it's right there on the ground. I'll leave it for now. I'm just going to kind of poke him and try to avoid his melee attacks. Try to whittle him down now. I want to get him low enough to where I can hit him with the axe, do a few pips of damage, and then he's low enough to be quickly killed. But I don't want to get him too low so that the projectile kills him. And there, now he made that first hole in the ground, so I need to be mindful of that. I think that's probably about good enough because when I hit him with the axe when he jumps out onto the battlefield, there he is, hit him, and now run in and kill him. So it took like 3 hits. Oh, he was starting to turn back over, but no, that was good enough. It still considered him on his back. So there's the achievement for defeating him while he's on his back. And then, of course, the achievement for just defeating him for the first time for some reason isn't showing up. But whatever. We'll get the post-God rewards here. And this one was pretty quick.
Suru Timon, Son Faron, Frisienat, Nunjala.
She gained 1 strength as a random occurrence for doing that. Very nice. So there's some random level ups, useless RNG items, some useless RNG weapons. All right, so that is it for Osseus. Take a quick look at the map. Should be 2 gods left. This was number 8. And in the next video, we will be heading to the left to Breith-Dorcha. And I will pick up then. See you there.